the Until Dawn movie. I can't believe that they're doing this just because Until Dawn was so cinematic and was basically like playing a movie. And now it's just like it was making fun of those kind of teenage horror films of yesteryear. And now it's just going to be one of them, which could be cool. I don't know.
I really love Until Dawn, just as like a game and the story. And I won't spoil it if you haven't played the game, but the monster in it, I think, is like really underutilized. And I think even if they just did that and didn't do any of the kind of like choose your own adventure, like changing butterfly effect, timeline, whatever, I still think it could be really good. So I'm actually pretty excited about it.
I haven't played the games, as we know. I'm not into the horror games. I did play The Quarry, but with much assistance. I would like to play Until Dawn, but again, I'll need someone to like play with me with the lights on. Maybe I'll do that at some point. I mean, I think horror movies, they vary a lot, but I think they're easy to make, they're cheap. That's probably why they're doing it, and I think it has a lot of potential.
So we're talking about a little video game adaptation that came out the past couple weeks. Not the Minecraft movie, we talked about that already. We're talking about Until Dawn, which is a adaptation of the PlayStation game. It's on PS4, PS5. This movie's being directed by David F. Sandberg, who is probably most well known for directing the Shazam movies. But before that, he had a pretty extensive background in horror. One of his first kind of shorts was a short called Lights Out, which kind of got him on the map, and that became a full feature. Annabelle Creation came after that, and now he's coming back into horror with Until Dawn. And this kind of adapts the premise of the game. We'll talk a bit more about how much of that it does or not, but it's essentially, if you don't know, about this group of teenagers slash early 20s. I don't really know how old they're supposed to be, but basically one of the main character is looking for her sister who's kind of gone missing, and they come across this house, and they investigate it, and it essentially turns into this kind of Groundhog's Day-esque situation where the night basically introduces a new kind of threat to this group, and they have to either deal with it or get killed by it, and then the night resets, and they're back to the beginning of the night, and they have to face another threat or another thing, and basically try to figure out how to get out of this time loop, essentially. I've played the game. I love the game a lot. It's one of my favorite horror games, one of my favorite games, period. So I had quite a lot of expectations going to this in terms of what I wanted to see out of it. But Lauren, I don't think you've played the game. We played the Quarry, which is also by Supermassive, together on this podcast. But Lauren, what did you take away from Until Dawn? What did you think about it, just generally?
Yeah, well, as a coming from the non-game player perspective, I thought it was not great. I admired that it had some creativity. Like there were a lot of creative horror scenes. I was like there's a lot of jump scares, a lot of scary moments. I was scared. There's definitely one scene that it's one of the top 10 jump scares I've ever experienced. So it gets that in my books. But I think I didn't really care for any of the characters. I didn't really like where the story progressed and like the reveals and things like that. And I just sat there thinking the whole time, I don't even know, like I haven't played the game, but I know enough about Until Dawn to know that this is not it. So I just questioned a lot of the decisions that they were making.
Yeah, as someone who played the game, I also didn't think the movie was that great either. I think like both in the fact that like I don't think this is a great adaptation of the game, and I don't think it is just a great movie either. I thought it was quite middling overall. I think my thing with it is that this movie really takes it takes very little from the original Until Dawn. Until Dawn, the game, essentially, it's kind of a similar start where it's a group of teenagers slash early 20s. I don't know, again, I don't know how old they are supposed to be, but they end up in a cabin in the mountains, and some basically craziness happens. But it's also, there are some fantastical elements to it, but it never veers into like the mystical side of things. In the movie, there is a very clear magical item or person or thing causing a lot of this stuff to happen, because there are different entities that show up, and it just didn't feel like it captured the spirit of the game very well. I thought like the way that the time loop kind of mechanic worked, I was curious of like, okay, I kind of get like this idea of like a time loop goes back to video games because you can respawn in video games or whatever. So I guess that's a tie to video games. But in the game itself, in Until Dawn, you don't do that. You don't. Once someone dies, you just kind of keep going. So there isn't that nature to this story.
Yeah.
But on top of that, I felt like, with these kind of horror Groundhog's Day, it reminded me of like a Happy Death Day, for example, where there is a Groundhog's Day loop to it. Comparing to that, Happy Death Day is like a fine movie, is whatever. I liked it enough. But the problem I had with this is that there wasn't enough forward momentum throughout the movie for me to like really care about the characters or the story. I felt like there were certain points where, throughout the nights you're hoping that the characters kind of learn something about what to do, what the kind of mechanics are of this world. They don't really go into that too much. They don't really explain everything necessarily, but in something like Happy Death Day, I feel like there's a forward momentum of like, okay, you learn a little bit more every time you kind of going through this time loop. Here it isn't really like that. You have certain deaths that show up, or entities that show up, like a witch woman at one point. I guess mild spoilers for the movie. Or there's one night in particular where you basically drink water and then you explode for some reason, which I thought was an interesting set piece, but it felt very cruel, because how are you supposed to learn anything from this? Or how are the characters supposed to learn anything from this? So I felt a lot like we were just doing some pastiches from horror's past, even though that one, like, I don't think there's any basis in any horror movies for that that I can think of. But yeah, it just felt like we're kind of muddling around a bit, and then there was some explanation towards the end, and then it kind of ended. But did you feel similarly, Lauren, like in regards to that?
Yeah, it was just like, let's smush every single creative horror kill that we can into one sort of movie. And I was like, but why? Like, you've already got these great ideas in the game of Wendigos. Like, those are cool. Like, they're scary. And they do show up in the movie too. And they are scary. But it was kind of like they weren't the main focus, because there's all these other things that are trying to kill you, like witches and clowns and all sorts of things. And I'm just like, what are we doing here? I'm with you though, Tom. Like, the game, I know enough to be like, choice in the game is permanent, and in the movie it's irrelevant, because you just get to do it again. So I think that was where they really skipped on the whole like capturing the spirit part. Like, just, I know it's hard to capture that element of choice into a movie, which is what we questioned this years ago when they announced the movie. We had a discussion on the podcast being like, how are they going to do this? Like, how is it going to work? How are they going to pick an ending? And they kind of avoided it by doing, like, making it as different from the game as possible, which is kind of not what anybody really asked for. So I don't know why they just didn't stick with like, here, pick one thing. Like, just pick, it's just going to be Wendigos killing you different ways every night. You learn more about Wendigos and how they came about. And here it's like, no, we have to have all these things to keep surprising you all.
Exactly. And I guess this is like, I want to talk a bit more about the spoilers of this movie a little bit. So if you're listening and you want to see the movie, I guess skip ahead a couple minutes. There'll be time codes and stuff. But in this movie, the kind of explanation of what is happening is that there is a therapist or psychotherapist character played by Peter Stormare, who is also in the game. But he's kind of playing a different type of therapist in this, where he's kind of using this as kind of like an experiment, I guess. But the main character is kind of explained that everything that's being experienced is kind of a manifestation of her psyche because of her kind of grief or her kind of anxiety and depression relating to her sister. And all the monsters are explained to be deriving from that. But the movie
really?
Yeah, that's what they say.
I thought he was lying.
Well, I don't know, because like that isn't what the movie presents, because all the monsters and threats seem to derive from the town, or the mining town that this is set in. So I just didn't buy that. I was like, well, you had a perfect explanation already of like, this is like this manifestation of this town that this house was built on. But then they kind of go back on themselves and they're like, this is all in your head, but it's all real though. Just to make sure it's all real. So I just thought it was
Oh my
very
god! So they did do it was all a dream.
sort of. I couldn't tell like if Peter Stormare or like this is the thing where it's like it's kind of a mystical magical thing that is kind of hand wave. I really it's very confusing and didn't really want to commit to one single thing because we also get a tease for this is basically a prequel for Until Dawn, like the game.
I was gonna ask, does it tie into the game in any significant way? Like at the end, are they teasing like, we're gonna adapt the game next time?
Yeah, so like you see a file, and Rami Malek is on one of the files. Joshua Washington.
Is it video game Rami Malek, or is it like just like live action Rami Malek? Like did Rami Malek get photographed for this movie?
No.
This is what I wonder. I don't think they must have been. It's either archival footage or archival imagery, or maybe it is just his model from the game because I couldn't really tell. I was trying to figure out like
because he's not going to come back and be in Until Dawn.
He's not coming back.
No, exactly.
I don't think they're making an Until Dawn 2.
No, this is just to appease fans, but I just don't really like. It doesn't make sense. Like it doesn't. None of this makes sense in the context of like the game. This world that they've crafted around it, so I don't know why they try to connect it at all if they were going to do this.
Yeah, it just felt so much to me like David F. Sandberg had, or whoever, had like a cool horror idea of like, what if we're in a time loop and something different tries to kill you every night? But then the only way they could get money for it was to be like, what if it's an Until Dawn adaptation because the game is, and like it has IP attached to it. And you're like,
that's what it sounds like to me, someone who hasn't seen it.
Basically. Yeah. That's pretty much it. So yeah,
Tom, as someone who has played the game, was there anything in there that was like, oh man, like that's from the game?
The
Hayden
one thing
Panettiere.
I mean, I wish if Hayden Panettiere
there are like
was in...
missing posters with some familiar faces on them.
Yeah, there's that. I mean, the Wendigos, like Lauren mentioned, are the main kind of threat in Until Dawn. And
what about the
like
weird therapist man?
Peter Stormare, yeah, the therapist guy. Like,
but he's not playing the same character.
Yeah, he's a different kind of guy. Like, he's a therapist still, but he's a It's
not him?
It's not him, and he kind of acts a little differently.
I guess maybe at the end it's kind of revealed to be him.
You could explain it as it, but I just feel like the way they present him in Until Dawn...
What's the point? Why do we do
this? I don't know. I will say the Wendigos, I like that they were practical. Like, I thought they looked quite terrifying. Like Lauren said, I think there are some, like, quote-unquote fun moments. Like, there are some fun kills, and, like, there are some generally terrifying bits. There's one bit where, like a Wendigo is kind of crawling around and a light is kind of illuminating it. I thought that was kind of interesting, but I just... it's hard because I'm like, on the one hand, like, adapting just like the source material would feel like kind of a waste because you could just play the game, but then at the same time, if you've already got such a good foundation with it, like, why not just use that foundation? Because I didn't, like I said, none of the characters I felt were that compelling. I didn't gel with any of them, really.
Can I ask a
question? I actively disliked most of them and looked forward to their deaths.
Over and over, you got to experience them quite a lot. I want to ask, is there a PlayStation Productions logo at the beginning of this movie?
Yep.
There is, yeah.
You gotta... Man, so what movies have PlayStation done so far? We have Uncharted.
Gran
Turismo. And we have Until Dawn.
Like, what's doing it?
That's what I mean.
I know, The Last of Us, but The Last of Us is, I think, an exception to the rule as opposed to the beginning of a pattern.
It's just wild.
I don't know. But yeah, I think it was disappointing that, like, horror movies don't have to have the most hard-hitting story. They tried to do something here with this girl who was, like, stuck in depression and running away from her or not running towards anything or something like that. It was just, they couldn't decide on a tone to tell the story. Like, occasionally it was, like, kind of slipping into that teen campiness that we maybe expect from The Quarry, and then other times it was like, okay, we're on our cell phones now and filming everything in found footage style, and I was like, okay. And then other times it was like the most scary thing.
No, they did not do a found footage section in this movie.
Yeah, they did. Absolutely. They also put in a videotape into a TV and watched that too.
Guys,
it's tough.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just all over the place, and similarly, like, kind of matches the plot because like the plot is just like have time loops do it all over again. But I'm with you, Tom. Like, why? Like, they kind of hinted at things like, oh, these two people are exes, and this person is like on her like 8th boyfriend, and like maybe isn't committed to him, and one girl's a psychic. And it's like, but none of that mattered.
No. Did you also know that two of the characters are like step siblings?
Oh my god, no! I had to read that.
Yeah, I looked it up and I was like, wait, they were? Because I did not get any like implication that they didn't seem to care about each other at all, especially in certain moments when like
They're waiting for that
together.
reveal for the second movie, Tom. It's an Empire Strikes Back situation.
I guess we gotta wait till until
They have
Dawn 2.
they have a 3-movie plan.
Oh jeez.
You're just reading ahead.
Yeah.
Great.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't really know what else to say about this. I think like
They had some good kills. There were some creative ideas that I was like, whoa, that was gross. And again, I had some good jump scares. So, like, props to them for being a horror movie. It just wasn't an Until Dawn horror movie.
Props to them for being a horror movie. Put it on the fucking box. Oh, sorry.
Good job. Yeah. But you know, if it's on streaming and it's on the front page, maybe watch it. But then I don't know. That's my glowing
If you need to look for it, if you need to hit the search button, don't bother.
Yeah, just don't even.
The algorithm serves it to you. It was destined to be.
I just don't know who it serves. Like, if you're an Until Dawn fan, you're probably not going to like it. If you're a horror fan, there are other great horror movies, like Sinners. Just watch Sinners. I don't. There's nothing. There's just nothing.
Yeah.
How many stars out of 5 are you giving it?
Ooh. I think I gave it like 2 on Letterboxd.
Ah, good. Great.
I was a little bit more generous. I gave it 2.5. Because it wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen, but it was just like, yeah, just kind of unremarkable.
Just one of them.
Just a movie.
I went to see it on opening day. There was 4 people in the cinema.
Oh. That's tough. That is so tough.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, man. Okay, well, Until Dawn. See it in your theater near you. Or I guess don't, because it's probably gone by now. It probably only lasted 2 weeks.
And it's like Final Destination Bloodlines is out. I think most people, it's like the similar wrapping. People are just going to go see that.
And that's getting glowing reviews right now for creative kills and a gripping story. So you don't have, you can have your cake and eat it too.